Welcome to the AI Queens podcast, the show where women entrepreneurs learn to ditch the overwhelm, embrace AI, and build businesses fit for royalty. I'm Erica Stanley, your host and tech expert, here to deliver tools, tips, and actionable strategies to help you scale smarter. Let's get to it. If you are just using Claude to brainstorm ideas or write captions, you're leaving most of its power on the table because Claude can read your email, check your calendar, and prep your meeting notes for the day, all before you even sit down at your laptop. I'm Erica, the founder of AI Queens and your host here at the AI Queens podcast. And today I'm going to walk you through 5 Claude connectors that can turn Claude from just a smart chatbot into your actual second brain. Now, a quick tip before we get started. You are listening to this podcast, which is already a great start. But if the idea of actually setting all of this up makes your head spin a little bit, I've totally got you. I run something called the AI Queens Build-a-thon. It's a live hands-on workshop where we actually do a custom build together. Now, in the last one, I personally walked everyone through setting up every one of these connectors. So by the time we were done, Claude actually knew everyone's business, their calendars, their inbox, all of it. You can join me virtually at these build-a-thons, or if you're local, I do these occasionally, a couple times a year in Tampa Bay. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to aiqueens.com/build so you can see when I'm hosting the next one. Spots are limited, so go ahead and sign up for the wait list and so you don't miss out. All right, let's get into it. Okay, I want to start with the basics. What actually is a connector when it comes to AI? So the simplest way I can think about it, Claude is, as we know at this point, the models are brilliant, super impressive. But without connectors, I want you to imagine that you've got this genius brain sitting in a room all by itself with no windows, right? So it doesn't know what's in your inbox. It doesn't know what's on your calendar today. It doesn't know what your team just decided on Slack or in your morning meeting, right? It only knows what you've typed into the chat box. And of course, there are memories and all of that, but it only knows the input that you're giving it. So now imagine that Claude are the windows into that room. They let Claude securely link up to the apps that you're already using. So instead of copying and pasting information back and forth all day, Claude can just look through the windows and see it and act on it. Just a heads up, connectors are not just a Claude thing. ChatGPT has them, Gemini has them too, and honestly, a lot of what I'm about to walk you through can be replicated on those platforms as well. But for today, we're just going to focus on Claude since that's what I use every day in my own business. So let's get into the 5 connectors I think make the biggest difference. Starting with my AI note taker. Now, I personally use Fathom, although there's also Granola, there's Otter, Zoom has its own internal meeting recorder. Here's something that you can do with it. Every Monday, I meet with my virtual assistant, with my VA, and we talk about all of the things that are on the table for this upcoming week. Like it's just a big brain dump. Here's everything I've got going on. Now, this 30-minute call is recorded with Fathom. So the transcript is right there. And because I have Fathom connected with Claude, I can go in and ask questions about that specific meeting. This is really cool for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, I can get action items, I can get a to-do list out of this without having to go through and specifically write down those meeting notes at the time. But it's also helpful later that week or the next week when I'm trying to remember, what were all of the things looking backwards that I might have had to do for a specific client or a specific project. It's a really cool way to kind of look backwards without having to go through and scour through your emails and your meeting notes. So you can just ask Claude to look through your Fathom and find the information from those specific meetings. Another really great thing it can do is it can look back through all of those calls and those meetings and find great examples of testimonials for you or things that clients are asking frequently over and over again that you might be able to turn into content. So, that connector, the Fathom or Otter or whatever AI note taker connector you have and you're using, that connector is super, super powerful, and it's the number one that I would recommend you connecting first. Next up, team communication. So, this is wherever you talk to your team. For me, my virtual assistant and I are in Slack, but it could also be WhatsApp. I mean, it could honestly just be email. But even if your team is just you, or maybe you and a few contractors, I have mine set up so that it sends me a daily digest. Now, this daily digest comes directly from Claude and it sends me a Slack with all of the action items straight from that Fathom transcript, straight from that Monday morning meeting. So that way it's not just in Claude, it sends it all in one place where I know to go and look every day, every week. And so I've got like a list of all the things that I need to do. So that's going into my Slack. It works really well for me, and it was super easy to set up. Third, we've got my calendar connector. So now of course, and I know most business owners I know, we live and die by our calendars. If it doesn't end up on my calendar, it basically doesn't exist. I don't remember that I'm supposed to do it. So connecting my Claude to my Google Calendar has been really, really helpful. As I'm working on a project, as I'm typing back and forth with Claude, Claude sees something hit my email or sees a Slack come through from my virtual assistant. I am able to ask Claude, hey, this is going to take me like 2 hours. I need you to find a focused time block this week and just put that task on my calendar. And it will go in and find a block of time and put that on my calendar. It's a really, really cool connector. And for me, it really helps me to keep a handle on my week. Next up, we've got Google Drive. Now, this one is so seriously powerful. For me personally, I keep all of my client files, documents, and everything in a specific folder for that client project. And then I can actually create also called a project. So I can create a project in Claude and then connect it to that Google Drive specifically for that client. And then it can pull from all of those documents, the sheets, including their branding blueprint that I created for them. And now it's got all of the context it needs. So I can have conversations within that project with all of the information that I've put in their Google Drive folder. It's really, really cool. And it doesn't clog up your Claude. You're not having to upload individual documents every time you want to have a conversation. You can just link it to that folder and it's already got all of the connections and all of the information it needs to create a full deep level context where you can ask questions of and have conversations and strategize with Claude based on the files within that Google Drive folder. Last up, this is connector number 5, and this is the one that most people start with, but it is the 5th one on this list because I I think it's I think it's the one that probably most of you already have. So I bumped it to the very bottom, and this is, of course, your email. So for me, that's Gmail. Some of you have Outlook. If you are using, for example, Apple Mail, Apple Mail is an aggregator. So you have to think, where does my original email live? Is it a Yahoo? Is it a Gmail? That's what you're going to connect. You unfortunately can't connect Apple Mail because that just pulls things in. But I showed people exactly how to do this in the build-a-thon that I did last month. But I want to give you an example of what exactly you could do with this. So let's say I've got a meeting coming up And I know that the client is going to want an update. Hey, where are we on this? Now, this particular client that I am thinking of, they are a law office. They are awesome to work with. But unfortunately, I get emails from lots and lots of different people and have gotten emails from lots of different people over the course of this project. And by having my Claude connected to my Gmail, I can now ask it, hey, I have an email or I have a meeting coming up with this client, and I need you to go through all of our past emails from the last 30 days from their entire team and help give me a roundup of everything that we have talked about, everything that I've done, all the action items that I've done, all the action items that they've done, and anything that might be outstanding so that I can go into this meeting fully prepped and ready to go. And I'm not having to jump back and forth between a bunch of different threads to bring myself up to speed before I hop on this call with this client. So, that is just one example of how you can use that connection with your email to really make yourself seem like a total rock star, like you are just on top of everything. And something that might have taken you an hour, maybe 45 minutes to get yourself up to speed. Instead, you're having Claude go through all of that and put it into a bullet point list to help you prep. And like I said, you're going to walk into that meeting, into that Zoom looking like an absolute rock star. Now, before we do a recap, I've been talking about these connectors and didn't really explain how to get to them. Now, this part, when I show you, you're going to be kicking yourself because it's been sitting there the whole time. You don't have to pay extra for this. Like if you've already got a Claude subscription that you're paying for, like it's right there. So in the bottom left-hand corner of your Claude, now this is if you're using the browser version or the desktop app, which you have to download separately, which I highly recommend because then you can start using Claude Code, which we'll get into on another episode. But in the bottom left-hand corner, you're just going to click on your name, or if you've uploaded a little avatar or an image, it's right there. And you're going to go to settings. And within settings, in that left-hand sidebar, you're going to look for connectors. And you can turn and toggle each of those on or off as you want them. And to go through a quick recap of what we talked about, this would be your AI note taker. So you can search for Fathom or Otter or Granola or whatever you're using. So your AI note taker, Slack, or however your team communicates, your calendar, your Google Drive or your Dropbox, and email. These are the 5 windows you are going to give it into your business starting this week. And you can do it one at a time, or you can do all 5 of them and just kick off this next week with all of your windows open. As you're doing this, you can give Claude open permissions and just say, hey, you have full access to read and write. Or once you have that connector open, you can click into each one individually and say, I want to give you permission, but you have to ask me first. And that's how I have a lot of mine set up, is that it has to ask me permission to go in before it's able to write or delete anything. I've given it pretty open read access, so it can go in there and read, but I only have given it access. It has to ask me permission first before it reads or writes or deletes anything, because I don't want to make a mistake and accidentally delete something important that I might have needed. I will also add this one caveat that I have only given it access to my business email. I don't use my business email to manage any of my banking information. Now, this is just me and my own level of like safety and security and how I feel about using AI, but something you should think about. I don't use my email for any of my banking, for anything super secure. I use a different email address for that AI doesn't have access to. And so all of the emails that it can read and write, it's basically just me communicating back and forth with clients, back and forth with my team. And there's nothing really that I would say important or proprietary in there. I encourage clients to not email me their passwords to different things. They can text me those passwords, but just realize that if you're giving it access to things, it can see everything. So just think about that as you are giving it access. What is in this account that it could access that if there was a breach, I would feel real weird about that. So, okay. Now, this for me, this is an example of using AI not just for the sake of using AI. This is not tech for tech's sake. And that's the difference here between using it to turn yourself into a cute animated avatar, right? Like everybody was doing on ChatGPT for a while. This is not AI for AI's sake. I don't care about AI because it's shiny and new and can do cool things, although that is really cool. I use it and I care about it because it can give you back two things that most business owners can never have enough of, and that's time and headspace. And that's where I think these connectors really, really come in handy. So, all right. So if listening to this segment made your brain light up a little bit or made you go, okay, this all sounds great, but I'm going to need a little extra help. How do I actually set this up? That's literally what the Build-a-thon is for. It's a live hands-on session, mostly virtual, but also sometimes here in Tampa Bay. So if you want to build along with me as your guide so that by the time you're done, you've built a custom AI tool specifically for your business. It'll probably include some of these connectors. You can find the link to the next Build-a-thon in the show notes or go to aiqueens.com/build to find out when the next one is and to join the waitlist. Thanks so much, Queens, and I will catch you back here again next week. Thanks for listening to the AI Queens podcast. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow queen who needs to hear this. Want more tools and tips? Join the AI Queens Society over at aiqueens.com and start ruling your business with confidence today. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI.